when they got to Remagen, we were south of where Remagen was, and they turned us up to go to Remagen, but we didn't go over because we set up to fire across, and we were where a road went into the Rhine there. I think probably in peacetime there was a ferry boat went across there because the road just went right into the water. And we had the headquarters battery and the mess hall and everything was on the south side of the road there, and then there was a embankment up. It went up, like 25, 30 feet up with steps at one place. And there was a house up there and a little chicken pen and chicken house. And we had my half-track parked right against the wire of the chicken pen. And so I was there, and I could see the bridge of Remagen. I could see the top of it, but I couldn't see the lower part to tell whether anything was going across or not. And I stayed there till we got wire run, and then I was able to shut the radios down. And we had a period of time in there when we didn't have a whole lot that we were doing because they had moved far enough out of range to do it. But to start with, there was a lot of shelling. I don't know if anyone ever made a list of how many guns were there for anti-aircraft and cannon and artillery, but there were thousands of guns there. And after they got the wire run and all, well, then I didn't have to stay on the radio. But one night they hollered, "You need to go open the radio and don't transmit, but open," because they think that the Germans are going to drop paratroopers on the bridge to get the bridge. So I went up there and I opened up the radio and got it started. And all of a sudden they cut loose, and every one of those cannons and their anti-aircraft guns all the anti-aircraft guns were on a fixed spot to shoot. And the sky was like a field of fire, and just fire everywhere. And I'm standing out there looking up, and they had quad 50s and dual 50s and single 50s and 37 millimeter, 40 millimeter, and everything going off up in the sky. And I thought, I wonder how much that costs to shoot all that. And about that time, the hailstorm started. All that stuff that went up starts coming down. And I hit the ground and crawled under the half-track and stayed under the half-track till they got through shooting, and all the scrap metal got down on the ground. I went up the next morning. I could take my boot and just rake it across the ground for a couple of directions, and I'd have a pile of shrapnel and bullets that was 6 inches deep. The whole ground was just covered. That was a really bad hailstorm to do it. The Germans tried everything in the world to get that bridge. They sent divers, and they shot about everything. We were there long enough that we decided to play some softball, and we got ground all packed out there, and I was out in center field, and right out next to center field was a big old bomb crater where they dropped a bomb and not got close to the bridge, and heard this noise. It sounded like something like a boxcar going through the air, and we found out later they'd fired one of those big railway guns, and they'd overshot. They'd shot too high. The problem was that the bridge was down in the river valley, and it had high ground on both sides, and in order to get in, they had to get just right distance on their shells to drop in order to get the bridge. And then I was out there in the center field playing softball, and I looked down towards the bridge and I said, "It's gone." And they said, "What?" I said, "The bridge, it's gone." And I looked, and it had fallen in. And they'd been working on it to try to repair it some to get it back, and it finally gave way. And there were some of the engineers that were lost when it did.